You know, I gotta say, if you live in Japan, it must be confusing when talking about the Mechagodzilla movies, since they all have the same name in Japan. It would be like, oh, I like Godzilla vs. Mechagodzilla. Wait, which one? The 1974 one? The 1983 one? Or the 2002 one? So it looks like they're repeating the Heisei formula. They reinvented Mothra and Ghidorah, both in one movie, so now it's Mechagodzilla's turn again. The movie is directed by the same director who made Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, and in fact the movie's even set up the same way as that movie. We get a young female soldier named Akane, who is part of the Japanese Self-Defense Force and a maser operator against giant monsters whenever they attack Japan. Masers are these giant laser cannons that were introduced in the 1966 Ishiro Honda film, War of the Gargantuans. One night in 1999, a new Godzilla has emerged from the ocean and is stomping around a Japanese village. Her team gets called in to attack the monster, but this results in an accident where, using her maser tank, she accidentally knocks over a jeep off a cliff that Godzilla eventually steps on. After the attack, the Prime Minister decides they need something to defend Japan should Godzilla ever come back. So, in a very long shot of an idea, they bring up the skeleton of the Godzilla from 1954 and want to build a mech around it. So basically, this Mechagodzilla is built around the bones of the original Godzilla. So cut to 2002 when Mechagodzilla is complete, and for some reason they call it Kiryu. Akane is approached by her superior, who wants her back in duty and has even selected her to pilot Mechagodzilla in terms of controlling the mech. So as soon as Kiryu's completed, Godzilla reemerges and they send out Kiryu to see what he can actually do against Godzilla. And he proves to be quite a challenge until something happens to where Kiryu just goes berserk and starts destroying the entire city. How does this work? Well, you know, it's actually kind of hard to describe, but because Kiryu was built around the bones of the original Godzilla, it somehow forms some sort of genetic input or something that it remembers it being Godzilla and starts rampaging. It's really hard to describe, and quite frankly, it only plays into the movie once. It's really confusing to exactly explain why this happens, but I don't know. Basically, Kiryu goes on a rampage. They try to fix the problem, and just in time before Godzilla comes back again, and then the two of them clash in the middle of Tokyo at night. I should probably mention that this movie, like the past three Godzilla movies, is another jumpstart to the series, ignoring all but the first one, which is one of the reasons why this is my least favorite series overall, because it's just, how many times can you reboot Godzilla? But one thing I'll give Toho credit for is that not only does this take place in the same universe as the first Godzilla, as it should for being a Godzilla movie, but it also is in the same continuity as Mothra and the film War of the Gargantuans that I mentioned earlier, because of the maser tanks, and Mothra for reasons you'll find out tomorrow. But anyway, this is probably tied with GMK as my second favorite Godzilla movie in the Millennium series. Maybe because Akane, I actually like that character. I mean, not only is she good to look at, I like how her character feels really upset about what she's done in 1999 and is not even sure if she's up to the task of controlling Kiryu. And she has to live up with the guilt that one of her fellow squad members with Kiryu is the brother of the guy in the jeep that she was responsible for, whose death she was responsible for. So it's interesting to watch her just kind of feel like, am I up to this task? Will this guy finally see some good in me for piloting Kiryu? And hopefully stopping Godzilla? So that aspect I like about it. What else? Well, I like this Mechagodzilla. I love how athletic this Mechagodzilla is. I love how not only can it be good at fighting at a distance like the past two Mechagodzillas were, but it's also good at close combat, and it can finally use its tail as a weapon. Plus, this is the coolest looking Mechagodzilla design out of the three. Though the music is identical to the one in Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, it is pretty good. And there's a couple of new themes that I kind of like, although this is the first movie since Akira Ifukube's retirement to not have the Godzilla theme, which admittedly is not that much of a loss. It's just always nice to hear Godzilla's theme. I believe the reason for calling this Mechagodzilla Kiryu is to distinguish it from the past two Mechagodzillas, and the Kiryu translates mechanical dragon, which at its basic idea makes sense. Although I prefer calling it Mechagodzilla 3. I mean, we call the Heisei one Mechagodzilla 2, and we call the Showa one Mechagodzilla. I don't know, sometimes I call it Mechagodzilla 3, sometimes I call it Kiryu. Whatever mood I'm in, it usually results in me calling this incarnation one or the other name. So in the end, there's not actually a lot to say about this movie. I like how it actually has a character that I can actually care for and who can prove herself. The action scenes are really entertaining. The CG continues to get a little better, but they still could use some help from ILM or Weta. For me, it's worth seeing. For you out there, it feels too much of a setup, and you might get irritated that this is the 4th time in a row that Godzilla's been rebooted. So I would say for you people out there who have never seen a Godzilla movie or haven't seen many, it's good but not great. So that's basically my review for Godzilla against Mechagodzilla. Let me know if you saw the movie. If you haven't, what did you think of it? And you notice that, like the Heisei series, there's a pattern with this rebooting nonsense. Luckily, tomorrow's movie would completely change all that. So until then, I will see you guys tomorrow. Bye.